Hi crafters, what if I told you that you could make a giant spooky jack-o'-lantern statue entirely from trash? Yes, you heard that right. Today I'm going to show you how to turn bubble wrap, yogurt container and plastic bags into a terrifying Halloween centerpiece. Welcome to a new episode of my Halloween craft series, part of my collection of recycled curious creations for Halloween. Let's get started. I start by covering a balloon with strips of wet paper towel. Once it's completely dry, I brush glue over the entire surface and use strips of orange tissue paper to cover the balloon. With the paper maché clay I prepared earlier, I sculpt the eyes and stick them onto the balloon like stickers. I do the same for the nose and mouth. Next, I form the neck of the pumpkin using a yogurt container and place the balloon on top. Then I cover the yogurt container with a bubble envelope. Mine is from Amazon and I'm sure you have some lying around too. I cut small slits at the end of the envelope to fold the excess neatly underneath the container, and I secure everything with masking tape. I cut long strips of bubble envelope, roll them to make them thicker, and tape them around the neck to create more volume. With plastic bags, which I insert one into another until I get the shape I want, I form the shoulders. I wrap several non-degradable plastic bags around the yogurt container to create the torso of the pumpkin. Then I prepare a thick band of plastic bag, tape both ends with masking tape, and attach it across the middle of the torso to form the chest. I cut an oval shape from another bubble envelope, keeping its sealed edge intact so I have two connected sides. I tape that shape to the chest, stuff it with bags for volume, and close it with masking tape. I place two balls on the shoulders and tape them securely in place. With ram board, I secure the torso to the head and stabilize all the other parts that could otherwise fall. I cut slits around the curved edges of the ram board so it fits the shape nicely. Then I use a cylinder, in my case the cardboard roll left from a finished duct tape roll. I place it on a piece of foam, trace the inner circle and a slightly larger outer one, cut out the circle and fit it around the cardboard roll. This becomes the pedestal for my statue. I position the statue on the pedestal, then I cut two squares of foam, make holes in their centers and fit them at the bottom of the pedestal for extra support. I hot glue the circle and the two foam squares to my statue. To secure everything even more, I wrap ram board around the bottom of the torso, cutting slits so it conforms to the shape. Next, I cover the chest of the statue with glued strips of craft paper. I cut a wide strip from a plastic bag, roll it to make it thicker, and tape it to the top and bottom of the head. The idea is to create grooves that mimic the ridges of a pumpkin. I place several of these rolled plastic strips around the pumpkin's head and cover them with glue-soaked craft paper, a bit like how a hairdresser wraps foil around hair before dyeing it. Once dry, I paint everything orange and add squares of orange silk paper for extra color and texture. For the lid, I take an empty masking tape roll, place it on a piece of cardstock and trace both the inner and a slightly larger outer circle. I cut small slits all around the outer edge, fold them in, tape them neatly and cover the lid with glued craft paper. This lid will later hide the string slides inside the pumpkin. Using a cereal box, I draw a leaf, cut it out and staple it to the lid. Then I cover both the lid and leaf with paper maché clay. I roll a piece of aluminum foil into a thick coil, bend it in the middle to form a sturdy stem and cover it with clay as well. If you don't have paper maché clay, you can easily make your own with newspaper strips, glue, water and flour. I have a full video showing how I make mine, so check it out. I carve small lines into the stem to give it a realistic texture. Now I do something that may seem a bit strange, but it will make sense later. I add a band of paper maché clay around the top of the head, right where the lid sits, but I don't attach it to the lid. This band will reinforce the structure and create a base for the same later when I cut open the head to insert the lights. I smooth this band down with an acrylic ruler and a sculpting tool. Then I add two smaller bands on the sides, connecting to the main band to look like pumpkin vines. Next comes the outfit. I draw leaf shapes on a piece of bubble envelope, cut them out and fold the edges inward, then outward again to create folds like fabric. I found a beige canvas tote bag in my pantry that's perfect for this part. I glue pieces of this fabric onto my leaf shape, then hot glue the folds in place. I glue rows of these fabric-covered leaves across the chest of the pumpkin to create a tunic effect, and I wrap more strips of the same fabric around the shoulders. On top of each shoulder, I glue a square of fabric, cut slits around the edges, fold them under neatly and glue them down. A larger rectangle of fabric covers the back. I'm really happy with how it looks. It gives the statue a soft, layered outfit. Now I take my paper maché clay out of the fridge again, flatten it, and spread it over the first step of the pedestal. Since this step uses a lot of clay, I only cover that part. For the rest of the pedestal, I glue small squares of cereal box cardboard to mimic stone tiles. It takes time and patience, but once painted grey, the result is totally worth it. With black paint, I add details to the pumpkin, painting the eyes, nose, mouth, vines and lid. Then I carefully cut open the top of the head with a precision knife, remove the balloon inside and reinforce the interior by gluing cardboard strips to form a solid structure. If you're wondering why I didn't pop the balloon earlier, it's because the paper covering it needs at least 3 days to dry completely. Cutting it too soon could make the shape collapse. I create another set of thin cereal box pens, hot glue them around the lid to give the stem a natural look, then cover them with paper maché clay and paint it black. I insert battery-powered string lights inside the pumpkin's head. From green denim or any green fabric that you have, I cut leaf shapes and glue them around the opening and on the lid. I also add layers of leaves cut from green fruit netting for texture and even one red leaf for contrast. Finally, I wrap a burlap cord around the pumpkin's neck to hide the fabric seams and give it a rustic finish. Once everything is in place, I hot glue the lid securely on top. And voila, my scary pumpkin statue is complete. It's perfect to place by the front door to spook trick-or-treaters. The best part? It cost me nothing except $5 for the burlap cord. Everything else came straight from my trash. Amazing, right? You can do the same. Show me how yours turn out. Give this project a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you want to see more recycled crafts or learn cardboard crafting techniques, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. And as always, happy crafting!